What's up, Golf Psychos? I'm Carlos Benavides, mental game coach out of Austin, Texas. I'm here with my boy Johnny from Caddy Issues. Today, we're going to be talking about keeping the vibes high. We're going to go into mental game. We're going to go into life. We're going to go into how to use golf how to shape your spirituality. We're going deep today. You're not going to want to miss this. We're going to throw up some tips that are going to benefit your game on the mental game side. As we always do, we're going to do a little bit of review. Let's go. Let's get into it. What's going on, Johnny?
What up, guys?
So what do you think, man? What do you think about the name?
The Golf Psycho?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty sweet. You guys are addicted?
We're addicted to golf. We're crazy about golf. It's a play on golf, like golf mental game, golf psycho, golf psychology, losing your shit on the golf course, everybody that can relate to that part of their mental game. So it's a play on all of those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're super, super stoked about it, man.
That is clever, man.
Yeah. So we're already seeing ideas for like logos and stuff like that, you know, a guy losing his shit or something to do with, you know, a golf ball and a brain and all of that good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still coming up with the graphic for it, like the official logo. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, by the time all of this is released, you're going to see all of these things out there already. But it's kind of nice that we're in these early stages before we've actually even released the podcast, right? So we've been recording everything. We've been working with Raul. Shout out to Raul Golfs. Be sure to check him out. But yeah, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. And you guys are doing amazing things in the ATX community. And we go all the way back to deep South Texas. You're a Valleyite. I'm a Valleyite. For those of you guys that don't know, the Rio Grande Valley is the southern tip of Texas, right before you enter Mexico. We're border town kids, and though we're a decade or so apart, I'm sure the valley's near and dear to you too.
Definitely. I went down there the other day. All my family's from there. Heritage, culture. Like, I love the valley, actually. I went down for Christmas, and right now we're living in Austin, and I've been here for like 6 years, but I never thought I'd move back. But last time I was there,
dang, 6 years
I
already.
do miss it. I do miss the valley.
You know, I was really stoked to leave the valley when I left. This was, we arrived here 2013, Halloween, 2013 to the day. And it's been a ride ever since. But yeah, man, I've grown more and more fond of the 956 as we've spent more time away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The food, the people. It's really my family that I miss the most.
Oh, dude. Oh, my gosh. I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. It's gotten to the point where, you know, it doesn't sit well to be away for so long. And you want to go home a little bit more often. And yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you feel me on that one. But yeah, that 5-hour drive can be pretty brutal.
5.5, depending on gas.
Dude, so I'm very proud to say, maybe it's not a big flex, but I've made it in 3 hours and 45 minutes before.
That's terrible.
It's terrible, man. But yeah, just, you know, getting sick and tired of that drive and I just want to get there. But there's some great golf down there too, man. There's some great golf down there too. Talk about, you know, hot weather year round, perfect golf weather, maybe too hot.
The golf down there, it's going to be near and dear to my heart. I'm sure your heart too, but I'd love the golf here more. Honestly, I do.
Just so many more options, man.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in the valley, in our little area, you've got a few options, and then you come to Austin, and it's like you've got this, you got that. I mean, just the munis alone, you know, there's like 5 or so, and then you start working in all the other private courses and, you know, public courses, but you know, it's things that are outside of, you know, the municipal stuff. But yeah, it's a real treat, man. We have so many options here.
The greatest thing about being in Austin and golfing here is that anything's possible.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. That's exactly why I'm here. Anything is possible in this city. I wouldn't have met you guys without being here in Austin, being in the golf community. You guys have been such a great part in helping us grow, helping us with our image, our media. So I can't give kudos enough to you and Lori.
Oh, man.
So it's major just to be here, be a part of it, and participate in what you got going on.
Yeah.
So it's Golf Psycho.
Golf Psycho.
Golf Psycho. Okay.
Yeah. Golf Psychos and Golf Psycho, and to, you know, everyone's a golf. If you're into the brand, then you're a Golf Psycho yourself. Man.
Yeah. Have you guys gotten like a website and like, are you guys doing like trademark, like the
we
LLC,
will be.
like what's going on? Like,
we will be. Yeah, we're going to kind of stick with the business that we're at right now and kind of do a little DBA, doing business as, to kind of just make that modification.
Gotcha.
But yeah, super, super excited about it. I think, you know, when we went into it the first time, you know, the mental game is very, very, very near and dear to my heart. I was one of those kiddos that struggled with the mental game. And as I was telling Raul in past episodes, it's something that I started rewriting as I had all of these mental game habits that were absolutely horrendous from, being a kid and doing things a certain way for so long. And in 2020, kind of taking on that task, using the techniques that we picked up in therapy and as pediatric therapists to kind of apply them to myself and go, okay, I need to change this. And I know we haven't talked about it, and the viewer might be kind of like, oh, we're a little bit familiar, but just in a nutshell to kind of give you an idea, I took on rewriting my mental game once I started taking Lori out onto the course, and she started to see like, oh my gosh, dude, you've got a problem. Like you are horrible.
Are you breaking clubs out there? Are you hitting the ground? You're talking shit to yourself?
Yeah. All this stuff. I wouldn't say that I was a big club thrower or a breaker.
Yeah.
I was more breaking myself in dealing with these things. And in 2019.
But that was so long ago, haven't it?
Yeah. But those habits are there.
Yeah.
My brain only knows one way of doing these things. And because of that, I was never able to reach my potential as a kid. I was never able to reach my potential, even have the idea of like being able to play in college. I had all the potential, but I could never realize it because...
When was this again? Like you say when you and Lori started going to the course together, but...
2019. So what happened is I started working at a clinic as a speech therapist. And this was basically right across from the Harvey Penick School.
Okay.
So I would have cancels. And I didn't want to sit around the clinic if I didn't have to. And I said, hey, you know what? I should start bringing my clubs. So I should also preface, Johnny, I left the game for 10 years. Like I didn't play for a whole 10 years because of the issues that I had with the mental game. And I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm done with this game. And so 10 years goes by. I've been living in Austin. I rarely go to the range, if at all, maybe a handful of times in probably over almost 8 years. And, really never going. It's just a side thought. And this opportunity, like I said, it happens where I can have cancels. And I started going, well, what can I do? And I know there's a range across the street. And I go, hey, well.
You go take some hacks.
I should bring my clubs, leave them in the car when I get cancels. Because sometimes I get 2 cancels. So it's like, oh, there's 2 hours
Why
right
would
there.
People cancel on you?
Well, every once in a while, kiddos can't make it. They're sick. Parents got something going on, blah, blah, blah.
Can't believe that.
Cancels happen. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I've got 2 hours where there's not sometimes 3, sometimes 4. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring my sticks, leave them in the car. Gradually got back into it. And I said, hey, the game's still there. But
you just find yourself being better than what you remember?
Yeah. It felt like, oh, I feel great. And then I go out to play and the beast comes out, bro. And Lori's with me. You know what I mean? These were just simple range sessions, right? So I get out to the course and I'll never forget, I go out to Falcon. And I'm actually playing okay, but I'm putting.
You're playing from the whites, you're playing from the blues.
I'm actually playing from the back.
Okay.
I'm playing from the back. I'm doing okay. But if I could 3-putt, it's a miracle. I was 4, 5, 6 putting everything.
Yeah, rocks.
And just losing my mind. And I'm heading home after the round and I'm like basically in tears, just with like anger. And Lori's getting to see this for the first time. And I've told her, like, no, like I've
like this is a huge trigger.
I've got this issue. Yeah. I'm super triggered right now. And it took me back to the reason I left golf. And I knew that I was wrecking myself out there, the stress and all that stuff, And I've seen Entourage where that guy just loses it and just drops out there. And I was like,
he breaks Tom Brady's driver.
Exactly. This cannot be me, So it became kind of heartbreaking to go, I can't play golf because I come out here and I just lose my shit. I come out here.
Enjoyable.
It's not enjoyable. It's not good for my body. It's not good for my heart. It's not good for my pressure. It's not
your
good
relationship.
For everything. Yeah. Like my wife doesn't want to see me. Like this is ridiculous, to see her see me in this light.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And essentially it's like, man, dude, I don't want to not be able to enjoy the game that I love or that I've loved for most of my life because I have this issue. So I took on rewriting my game. And that's how I sort of stumbled upon all the things that I picked up and it would eventually go on to teach others, and
now you're like, from what I've seen you sink some putts. I've seen you shoot some low scores.
Johnny,
so
your
journey must have been pretty impactful.
Amazing.
On your game.
Amazing, dude. Amazing. Just, to kind of work on it and have Lori keep me accountable. Lori's an occupational therapist. So the tracking and the, keeping me accountable and documenting information and all this good stuff. And was super, super crucial to going out there and changing this, at that time, probably almost 30 years of doing this a certain way. So we knew it was going to be tough. Like, we knew that this is,
So what did you start doing? Did you start writing in you start writing a journal? Did you start like, this is what I'm going to do every single time I go to the course? You're repeating stuff in your head. Like,
yeah.
What is the first step that you're taking?
Well, the
first action.
The first thing I knew, I had meditation practices and yoga practices that I could lean on. And I'm sure you've heard the concept, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Not always the case.
Okay.
It can be, but not always the case. So I was already a pretty chill guy off of the course, and I had developed these practices because, yoga and meditation had sort of chilled me out, and I had that available to me.
That's a tough quote to live by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I didn't have those practices built on the course. I had them built off of the course. And just because they existed over here, you would think, oh, they should spill up. No. My brain had a neural highway that had said, hey, we've been doing this for a long time, losing our temper on the course and just completely, going down that spiral.
It's like that's what you do. That's who you are.
That's what we do. Yeah. That habit is just too strong. It's too ingrained. As we like to describe it, these habits are neural highways in your brain, kind of like walking through a meadow again and again and again. And you form a path, that path is there. And so the one thing I deeply understood going out there was that this was a habit. And in our world as therapists, we deal with behaviors and habits and behavior modification and what it takes on the neural side, the brain side, to be able to rewrite habits, right? So we go, okay, let's take those concepts that we understand. We understand that in order to change this, we need to do something different. So yes, documenting and looking at all these things became really, really crucial to being able to change this, these lifelong behaviors. And we gradually sort of stumbled upon things that worked and things that didn't. And I knew that at the foundation of what I was doing is that I was missing the point of being out there. And what I like to go back to is, when you're at work, you wish you're at the course. And then when you're at the course, you're like, I am not being grateful for being out here. Like, I'm completely, so I knew that.
Yeah, you kind of get tunnel vision on
Absolutely.
The scorecard. You should be looking around. You're in nature. You're with your boys.
You're where you want to be. Yeah. And I knew that there was a version of me that was going out there and completely forgetting that. So that became the foundation of where we began change. And there was documentation of like, okay, the driver needs this, and there was information and stats that we knew as far as the game, but I knew that there needed to be a change mentally. And gradually, I started to notice this issue that I talked about with Raul, and I'm sure that you understand, and a lot of golfers will understand this one. And it's the moment the ball leaves your club and it's bad, you can get triggered. Like it's in a second. Yeah. Like boom, it's bad. There you go down that spiral.
Yeah. And you can't really control it.
It's so hard to control.
Like, I have so many videos of myself hitting a bad shot, and I'm always just talking. I usually just complain, like, oh man, or damn it, you're cursing. So it's usually a verbal for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Same here.
I don't like pre-think like what I'm gonna say
in a heartbeat, man.
It just happens. It comes out. It's normal. Everyone kind of, like, if you have a crowd behind you, they kind of react how they want. And then I think the most awkward thing in golf is when you have that moment and then you turn around and the people watching you, like, how do you react to that too? And then all of a sudden it's a spiral that goes downhill. So it's a slippery slope.
Oh my gosh, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think from, kind of taking from our meditation practices, I knew that as a golfer, I was falling guilty to some of the classic things that we do off of the course as well, right? So whenever we work with mental game, whenever we work with folks that are struggling, let's say with anxiety and depression, we always like to say anxiety, future thoughts. That's your brain in the future, and depression, past thoughts.
Yeah.
And we do that on the golf course, right? We start worrying about the score. We start we're on hole 5. We start worrying about, well, what do I need to do to make par? What do I need to do to finish the turn? And then we get, our heads get stuck in the past, and we go, oh, well, what did I do back there? And I topped that one back. And you kick yourself over that. So the brain goes forwards and backwards, and we need to kind of get locked in and stay present in order to play our best, right? So I was really, really guilty of doing that. And
that's not unique to you.
No.
Everyone is going through
it's
the same
incredibly
thing.
generic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's everybody's brain. Everybody's brain.
I know a lot of guys that are really like being in Caddy Issues, having our community, knowing a lot of amateur golfers, I see so many people that actually have a lot of potential in golf that are natural guys that just come out. I had 1 lesson, 2 lessons, striping the driver. And then you put a little bit of pressure on them, you take the camera out, whatever it is, and then they're hooking it, they're slicing it, and then it's downhill from there. So like everyone does need that moment of like belief or like that reassurance, or like they do need that psychological side to help them overcome that hill, because everyone it's an uphill climb, you know? And once you get to the top of that mountain, there's another mountain like right there. So like the biggest push is the mental side, because everybody has that potential.
Yeah.
Everybody has those, not everybody, but like the guys that do have it, it's hard for them to just break through that wall, break through that barrier.
So well said, man.
Dude,
so well said.
Like, and I feel it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've shot 70s multiple times. At this point, I don't even know how many times now.
Yeah.
But when I was breaking 70 for the first time ever, and then I come in and I'm shooting 38s, 39s on the front, and I'm thinking about it, right? Thinking about it so much. Like, oh man, I'm going to do it today. Today's the day. I'm telling my brodies. I'm like, I get too anxious. And then I've shot exactly 80 so many times, you know? You break 70 once, you shoot 85 times, you break 70 again, you shoot 85 more times. So like you could have that moment of breakthrough, but what's harder is to find you to like really get you to move the needle to where this is where I am now. This is where I play. This is who I am on the course. So like it's sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm probably going to shoot in the 70s today. I'm probably going to shoot 77. And when you go and you kind of just really, really believe it, you can shoot a 44 on the front. But if you still have that belief, you're going to do good on the back either way. Because it's just like a matter of time. This is coming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get my birdies. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely, dude. And I think we've gone into belief systems exactly how you say. You have to believe it. If not, we like to think of it as like, you know, the brain is a computer program, and like whatever you program the brain to believe is a program, and it has to fulfill that program, or at least it's going to increase the chances of you fulfilling that program. And, you know, as you mentioned earlier, that you have so many outside sources, you know, the camera comes out, this happens, but, you know, your boys are watching, or people that you don't know are watching you, and it's easy to get inside your head. And when I was rewriting my game, you know, some of this is going to be reviewed, as some of you guys have heard and listened to the previous podcast where we've kind of gone over mental game 101. We're going to kind of, you know, refresh and go over it again. As I told you, I knew I was missing the point, bro. I knew my mind was going future, it was going past. And we knew that in order to kind of reel all this in, I needed to get present, right? The brain can be in 3 different places. It can be in the future, it can be in the past, and it can be present. And whenever we play our best, it's because we're present, you know, and getting bummed and going, you know, to depression and past thoughts and going future creates a lot of problems in the body, as it creates, you know, more cortisol. It drives up adrenaline. And we're really, really, really big on controlling the nervous system, because we know that when fight or flight goes off, that's when golfers do weird shit, right? Like all your potential goes out. The stuff that you would never do on the range all of a sudden starts to pop out. Yeah. So we're really, really big on controlling the nervous system. And if we can control the nervous system, then we can control our potential so much more. And the problem that most golfers have, as far as our coaching is concerned, is learning to chill that nervous system out and keep it chill as you play. And there are so many factors, kind of like a video game, that are going to attempt to rock you off of that. And your fight or flight goes off. And then from there, that's when golfers experience the spiral and they can't get out of it. And, you know, you'll notice sometimes, you know, you're spiraling. Then you have a little break, maybe between the nines, right? You make the turn, you go get something to eat, you get some water, you come back and you play well, because your nervous system had time to just chill out and come back, right? So
get centered again.
Yes. So that was a big thing that we knew that we needed to take onto the golf course. And we had learned, you know, there's certain breathing techniques that you can use to chill the nervous system out. And we knew that rewriting my game was going to be implementing and kind of installing these. We like to think of it as like a lane detection system that cars have now, right? Like before, the old cars didn't have it. And I was kind of like updating myself and updating my
Yeah.
brain with more tools to be able to handle,
those high pressure situations.
Exactly. So
whether they're real or not.
Exactly. So well said. So that was a big part of going out there to rewrite the game. And a lot of what we teach in order to be able to keep that chill. And then the other problem, and one of the biggest techniques that we have, and I'm not sure I've gone through it with you, and maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But when I was out there at the course, like I told you, I knew that I was missing the point of being out there. I knew there was a version of myself that wasn't my true self because I'm losing my shit. I'm getting upset. And I know that I have no business doing that out here. So what I started understanding through probably a year in to rewriting my game is that I knew that there was two different versions of myself. Right?
Yeah.
There was that guy that had no business out there. And then there was the guy that needed to be out there. That guy needed to come out more often. And to make a long story short, we started calling it my who, loading my who. Essentially, like a video game, every time I go up to the ball in my pre-shot routine, it's like picking a character in a video game.
Okay.
And I'd pick the grateful guy.
Yeah.
Because I came across this problem that we discussed in one of our previous episodes where, like I told you, I didn't know how to get out of this one conundrum, which is I lose my shit half a second after hitting this ball. And that's hurting me.
Yeah.
How can I prevent that from happening? And like you said earlier, like it's so hard because it happens so quickly and you hit that shot and you feel it like, oh, that's going to be a bad shot. Like you just
sometimes you feel it before you hit it.
Yes, you just know. You just know. Yeah. And I knew that that's what was taking me into spirals, or at least making it hard. Like once I would kind of get into that anger mode or whatever, it was hard to get out.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Lori, there's this concept in jiu-jitsu, because I'm a jiu-jitsu guy too. There's this concept in jiu-jitsu that there are certain submissions that the best way to get out of them is don't get in them. And I knew that concept. I'm sure as you understand sports, a lot of their concepts apply, right? There's fundamental.
Don't put yourself in the situation.
Don't put yourself in that situation. But to me, it was like, how do I do that when I've got like a quarter of a second that I hit the shot and then I lose it?
It's like saying don't hit bad shots.
Exactly, right? So I was like, well, how do I prevent this if I have no time to go in there and prevent it? Mm-hmm. And I sat with that, and I sat with that, and I sat with that. And then I realized, oh, this has everything to do with who is hitting the shot in the first place.
Yeah.
If Grateful Guy, this was my idea.
Yeah.
If Grateful Guy hits the shot, and Grateful Guy is the one that steps up to that ball, and Grateful Guy hits a bad shot, maybe his reactions won't be as bad as Ungrateful Guy.
Definitely not.
Right? So that's when I started kind of calling this technique loading my who in my pre-shot routine, which basically before I design my shot, I ask myself, who's the player that's going to hit the shot? My grateful self. There's breathing that kind of plays into that pre-shot routine too. I take a breath. A grateful guy takes a big breath, controls his nervous system, sees the big picture of what he's doing here. And for me, my grateful self would see a ginormous zoom out of a picture. I wasn't just seeing myself playing golf. I was acknowledging a bigger truth in order to really tap into my grateful self. And what it meant to me, and this is going deep as we've gone deep in our previous episodes, is in this moment, this is the youngest I'll ever be, ever again. Yeah. And this is the oldest I've ever been. One day, I'm not going to be here anymore. And this life will come to an end.
This is your grateful guy.
This is my grateful guy.
Yep.
He sees the truth of what this is. This isn't just golf. This isn't just the next shot. This is a beautiful moment in your life.
Yeah.
How do you want to spend it? And in that quick 3 seconds, as I go through my pre-shot routine and I load my who, I pick the character like a video game. Yeah. I load that guy. And I started noticing that every single time I did that, every shot, I started to notice that the reactions, if I hit a bad shot, weren't as exaggerated.
Yeah.
I felt like I reduced the emotional reaction by 50, 60, 70, 80%. And the shot, if it was bad, wasn't so devastating. And it didn't feel like I was spiraling. I could accept that I didn't hit the shot the way I wanted. I could get back to my breathing and move on. And that's where loading the who was born. And I started doing that every shot on the range.
You're loading the who every shot?
Every single shot. On the range, 90 balls in the bucket, load the who, load the who, load the who, load the who. And science backs it up. Neurology backs it up, right? That what happens when we tap into our grateful self more often, right? You're lowering blood pressure, you're lowering cortisol. Adrenaline is not going to enter your system, which is one of the hallmarks of your fight or flight going off, right? So our fight or flight goes off. Again, our brain doesn't know the difference between a lion chasing you and the fact that you just went OB.
Yeah.
It just knows that this human perceives as a threat and fight or flight is on, and your fight or flight is on there to defend you, right? So if we go back to caveman times, as we discussed in previous episodes, your fight or flight goes off, adrenaline goes off, cortisol goes off, and you need adrenaline in your blood, right? To evade, to run, to fight, you need extra strength, right? But in golf, that's going to hurt us, right? It doesn't know that we're not in a life-threatening situation. It doesn't understand that. It just knows that we're pissed and we're perceiving a threat, so it's got to go off, right? And that's when the weird shit happens, because you got all this extra adrenaline in your hands, in your body, in your back.
I feel it the most when I'm putting.
Yeah, the feel shots.
Like I never hook a ball, or like if I'm hitting the ball left, it's because I'm getting too handsy with it, and I think I'm getting too anxious. And I feel like I'm just trying to create the shot more than just letting it happen.
Exactly.
So I'm putting too much emphasis on this is the result that I'm looking for, instead of just like, this is what I want to happen. If it happens or not, let it be free.
Yeah.
Because that's what it has to be. You have to swing smooth. You have to let things happen. You can't take the ball and drop it in the hole. Like, you have to just give it a moment, give it a good try, roll it in, and kind of just let it happen. So
yeah,
I do resonate a lot with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel like you're definitely onto it, because in golf, not just in golf, but like I listen to a lot of motivational speeches and like personal development things, and they talk a lot about like you have to be able to separate yourself into, if you're going into the gym or if you're going into a marathon or whatever it is, like you have to say, this is the guy that's doing it, and then you have to create your own persona, which is exactly what you're hitting on. So I do feel like I have my own persona on the course as well. I think I have multiple. Lately, I've been not keeping score. The past 2 times I haven't kept score. I think we've been having this, there's this saying that we've been kind of like repeating. It's the vibes have to be high for the scores to be low. And the only way to get the scores low is, first thing is the vibes got to be high.
Yeah.
So you got to be grateful. You got to be like, I'm only worried about having a good time with my boys, having a good time on the course. I think the most important thing is the people you're around. So like, I know it's not like as mental, as in depth, I think, but
I disagree, bro.
you think so?
I think it's just as deep, because that's all part of Grateful Guy.
Yeah.
Grateful Guy sees your boys. Grateful Guy sees the fact that you're here, you're alive, you're well, your health. One day, maybe I'm not going to be able to swing. Maybe one day my boys aren't going to be here. And here we are. You know what I mean? I go that deep. And the reason that you're grateful is because whether whether it's conscious or subconscious, you acknowledge that there's a beauty that you're all there. Yep. There's a reason why there's, that concept of vibes high for scores to be low. And it kind of ties into something that we believe, which is this concept of letting go to gain control.
Okay.
Let go to gain control, because I think we've seen it in golf, which is golf mimics life in so many ways. And it's when you hold on too tight, things don't happen. Like you said, you have to let go.
Letting go to gain control.
Letting go to gain control.
Love that.
You know what I mean?
Epic right there.
Sometimes the way out is in. You know what I mean? So, these are all concepts that tie into loading the who. And like I've said before, it's with lots of my players and competitive players and people that come through to get coaching with us. This is a very, very important concept, to be able to tap into that grateful self and see the bigger picture, because it's so easy to spiral and let that other version of ourselves, our egos, kind of take the reins. And because this is a game of life, it spills into life, right? The things that we do. And I think that's probably one of the things that we've been the most proud of, is that these concepts and loading the who and other concepts that we teach, they spill off of the course. So if you go and let's say like the golf swing, I'm sure you'd agree, Johnny, right? That if you swing once, that's nowhere near enough to groove your swing if you're a beginner golfer. You got to go out there and do it again and again and again and again and again. And maybe,
because you got to match the mental with the physical.
Absolutely. It takes time to groove that, right? And the beautiful thing is like I can sit here and we can go into a meditation one time and load our gratitude And that creates a little highway in our brain.
Yeah.
One pass, but 90 balls in your range bucket, loading the who every time. That's 90 passes, bro.
Yeah, you're not just putting footprints down, you're paving the way.
Like, yes, with
tons
repetitive, repetitive, tons of repetition. And that's what our brains need in order to groove these new highways. And that's why I was able to rewrite my game faster than expected. It still took me about a good 3 years to be able to do it. I want to even say that I feel like I graduated at one of your tournaments, or I went out there, I competed, and I lost my shit for the last time.
Okay.
It happened. That was like the last time. But I took so many lessons, and we'll go deep on that another day, because that's a big one, and I can kind of tell you what happened that particular
I'm curious on what tournament that was.
It was one of the Mo Willy tournaments.
Okay.
And something really special happened out there, and it took my mental game to like another level. But
in a positive way.
In a positive way.
Okay.
It was like a graduation day, so to speak. Yeah, it was really, really cool. We got to go back into that one later.
Like you felt more reassured. This is who I am now.
Yeah. It was kind of like, you know how it's darkest before dawn?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
Like it was like a dark day. And then after that, it opened up this whole other side. But, you know, like you said, man, it's just so important to see the bigger picture. You play better, you're more relaxed, you know? So when it comes to like the mental side of the game, you know, if we want to play our best golf and hit our potential, we always say, like, you need to be able to play the game. You need to be able to go out there and be loose.
Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like, what's the most important thing to certain golfers, right? Like, for me, sometimes it's having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to know the people I'm with. But other times it's, okay, well, I want to make some good content here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have this video and be great, right? So those are two different things that could be the most important. And then the third one would be like, I want to have a really low score.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the approach on all three of those is completely different. So like, if I do have that grateful guy that will, okay, I'm here to enjoy the people I'm with. I'm here to create some connections. I'm here to vibe out. I got to keep the vibes high. That's all I'm worried about. Score's usually pretty good. I don't think it's the best, but it's usually pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
And then if it's the content, if I make the content the most important thing, usually my game's not there.
Yeah.
I got too much going on in my head. I'm just like distracted. So it's hard for me to be the camera guy and play. And then when I focus strictly on the score, it's trash.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of variations there.
But I do want to be able to make the score the most important thing sometimes. Like I want to be able to decide, like, this is what I'm most important to me right now. Let's go out, let's execute it. And sometimes that's just hard. I struggle with it.
So I respectfully and kindly.
So I will like, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
I got to get sound like,
no, go for it, brother.
I think I always will default to the vibes is high, because that's where I find the best results. That's where I have the best time. But I want to be able to also default to like, let's worry about the score today.
Yeah.
You know, so like sometimes that's just tough to balance. Like, what is most important?
Yeah. So you're going to leave with a badass mental game update today.
Okay.
And I always like to think of it kind of like our phones, right? Like you have an update on your phone, fixes bugs, fixes this, all that good stuff. Right? I love a great update. So I agree and I disagree. I think for those three things, whether it's content, vibes, and score, all three have to be your grateful self.
They all do.
All of them. It's actually the same one, but it can feel like they're individual ones. Let me tell you why. Your grateful guy is going to go out there. He's going to keep the vibes as high as possible because he sees the biggest picture.
Yeah.
In order to play your best golf, grateful guy needs to go out there because you're not going to have fight or flight moments, and you're going to have the guy that's able to chill out the most and go out there and have fun.
Yeah.
And then when it goes to creating content, your grateful guy is your most authentic self. And that guy's the most fun. Yeah. That's the guy that's most fun to be around. That's the one that everyone wants to be around, because I like to think that our grateful self is literally the most authentic version of ourselves, because we are not lost in stories. We're not lost in different things that we have no business being in. We see the bigger picture. So if you want to play your best golf, grateful guy.
Yeah.
You want the vibes high, grateful guy. You want to go low, grateful guy. It's all the same guy.
Yeah.
And the reason that we feel like it needs to be different, like, oh no, the vibes guy has to be this guy. It's because somewhere somewhere, and I've been there too, bro. Yeah. We all have. Again, there are certain parts of our brains that are all generic and they all apply to all of us. There's this conscious or subconscious thought that I have to be someone else because who I really am isn't enough. So I have to be someone else.
I've been someone else when I try to compete.
Yeah.
I'll show up and I'm not like as talkative, or I'm just a little bit more like, oh, I'm going to put a line on my ball today. And like, I'm going to do things a little different. I'm going to show up extra early. I'm going to practice on the range, when really like, I don't do that all the time. Yeah. But like you try to do all these extra things when you're worried about the score more versus if I was going to a tournament and just was going to be my grateful guy that's worried about the vibes, that could be the best score I have.
And I hear that word that you're using, worried.
I'm worried about the score.
You're worried. And what is worry but future thoughts?
Yeah.
Anxiety. There's probably a moment or several moments that you've had at home and you're thinking about stuff that hasn't even. And that's the source of everybody's anxiety. One of the reasons that we're so passionate about teaching Loading the Who, some of it, Johnny, has nothing to do with golf. The idea that if I can train my students, or if we can help people and help golfers use golf to become more present, chill out their nervous systems, and extinguish anxiety and depression, and use golf to do it, it's a beautiful thing, bro. Where golf, you can literally use golf to create those repetitions again and again, coming back to your grateful self. And there's a whole arsenal and domino effect of what it means to be grateful as far as what's going on in your brain, your heart, your blood pressure, your kidneys. I mean, it's an amazing amount of things that happen. We call it grateful, right? It's just semantics. It's just a word. But what's really going on inside of us is so profound.
Like in your nervous system,
yes,
in your cardiovascular system.
Exactly, Johnny. Yeah. Exactly. If we can help golfers spend less time in anxiety and depression, and as you know, man, I've suffered from anxiety and depression. I've known a lot of people. It's something that's very near and dear to me. And for novice golfers, people that have never played, for golfers that have been in it for decades, it doesn't matter. We can use these techniques to help us feel better in our lives, help control our blood pressure, take stress off of our kidneys, take stress off of our hearts, take stress off of your brain. I mean, the domino effect of all of these things can happen. You have less cortisol in your body, which means everything functions better, which means your brain functions better, which means your thoughts are different, which means you make better choices. I mean, it just spills, bro. You know, so
it's a foundation.
Absolutely. And then you can use something as fun as golf to groove these things.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's like you're using golf to create that grateful self of you, which is why I'm a big believer in sports. You know, a lot of people that play sports have to find that person.
Exactly.
They have to create that person within themselves. So then, it does implement not just like, well, I guess I'm talking about implementing it further in life and being successful and like trying to go out and believing in yourself and knowing you can go and achieve whatever you put your mind to.
Absolutely.
Because you've created that side of yourself.
Yeah.
Through sports.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go to the course, right? And whenever I'm playing really good, like whenever I was having those moments of shooting in the 70s, that's when I was talking to Jasmine for the first time, or that's when I was like getting a promotion. Like life will line up, stars will align. And it's because something is going on mentally, spiritually, like however you want to say it. Things are aligning and you're your best version of yourself.
I'm so glad that you use that word, Johnny. Yeah. Spiritually.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we stumbled upon, or one of the things that we teach, is that you are not your thoughts. Your brain generates thoughts, but there is something else that can observe your thoughts. There's something else that can go in there and go, hey, I noticed that you're on hole 5, but yet you're thinking about hole 9. What is that catches that? What was it in my game that noticed, hey, grateful guy's not here? What is it that's catching those things? We believe it's the spiritual side of us, the higher self, the authentic self, dare I say, the part of us that's connected to the divine. And I know that goes really deep, but we believe that golf is spiritual. We think and believe that golf is a game of life. And literally training your brain and training your higher self and your grateful self to come out more often is a spiritual practice. So I'm so glad that you tapped on that, because What is it that's going in there to override thoughts and override anxiety, override depression, override past and future thoughts? What is that? But the spiritual self that says, you deserve better. It's something else inside of you that's saying, you deserve better because I love you.
Yeah.
Or you deserve better because you just don't deserve to feel that all the time. You deserve better.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing to go out there and groove that and use golf to do it. You know, we constantly say like every hole, every round mimics life, right? You're on the course, like in life, you're planning, you're making moves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't go the way you want. That's okay. Maybe you planned it to go to a certain.
Sometimes you hit a really good shot.
Yes.
Bad position.
Business, life.
Yeah.
Oh, good shot. It worked. Oh, that was perfect. And then all of a sudden, phew. But it's all about learning to respond, not react, just like in life, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get to the green, you go in the hole, you meet your goal, like in life. Yeah. And then you go to the next one, you do it again, like in life, and again, and again, and again, and again. And we've kind of come across this parallel where like the ball is you. Right? Psychologically, like when we say my car, my ball, my club, everything that we say my beliefs, it becomes a part of you, right? So this ball literally represents you making moves through life and making your way through the map that is your world, right? Finally getting to its destination, which by the way is 6 inches is the ground.
Like, I believe that to my core, actually.
Yes, bro. Like we all have a birth on the tee box. Yes. And then we all have a little mini death when we go 6 inches into the ground, when that ball goes into the ground, where we will eventually go into the ground too. And then we resurrect, and then we do it again, and we do it again. And then we finish our round, and it's just, you hug your boys, you take off your hat, and you have this grateful moment at the end of your round, at the end of your life. You should finish grateful, and then you come back and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, with the same lessons. And you start to notice that like, oh, it's not about the score. It's not about the good shots. It's about the bravery of having the bravery to
journey that you're going through.
Yes. Yeah. And the bravery to keep going. Oh, I went OB, no problem. I'll drop. I'm brave enough to keep going, like in life, So, that was what kind of, to kind of come full circle, that these were the concepts that got me out of all those old habits that I had established as a kid. And long story short, or maybe not long story short, but just to kind of continue off of that, my lowest score as a kid was 76.
It's pretty good.
And 2 years into rewriting my game, over 20 years later at Wolf Dancer, I broke it, 74. And it was a big moment because it was just like, oh my gosh. Because you have these doubts, right? When I was kind of doing all this, like, is this even working? Is this even working? What am I doing here? And then I go to a tough course like Wolf from the tips and break it for the first time. And I remember, as I was telling Raul, I'm on hole 16 and I'm aware. And I'm like, oh, my mind's going to the future. Like, I'm so close. I'm going to do it. I'm right there. Like, don't fuck up. Don't mess up, and I go, my mind's going to the future.
Yeah.
And after all these updates, being able to notice stuff like that, like, oh, I don't need to be putting that pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Come back to your breath, which is another thing that we teach, right? Breath control. Because breath control is what controls your nervous system. And if your nervous system goes off, you come back to the breath and then you regulate your breath. So essentially, if you were going to get into a fight or you walk out into the woods and a wolf rolls up on you, your nervous system is tied to your breath, and immediately you get scared, you get spooked. That breath sparks this, this thing in your brain and goes, oh, there's a threat. Fight or flight needs to go on. Activate cortisol, activate adrenaline, all that good stuff. But if I want to turn it off, I need to tell my brain that there's no more threat. And how does the brain pick that up?
With your breathing.
It detects that your breath has chilled out. So we're using that. We go, breathe out, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. And that starts to regulate the nervous system. Cortisol chills out, adrenaline chills out. Now I can get back to playing.
Like, that's a skill.
Yes. It's a new habit. It's a new behavior. And I'm doing it all round long. So between loading the who and breath control, I'm controlling my nervous system. And now my nervous system isn't a factor as much. Maybe it used to be a massive factor. And now I've reduced it 90%, 95%, which means I can go out there and play to my potential way more often because my nervous system is not getting in the way anymore. you feel like, well, why can't I do this shit on the range? Well, because your nervous system is chilled out on the range where it doesn't count, where at least you think it doesn't count. There's no attachment. So this is what, I'm going into hole 16, kind of like, go back to your breath, go back to your breath. And you need about at least 2 minutes of that controlled breathing to get yourself in order.
Yeah.
So I know.
And that's such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing good. You don't want to like go into this 2-minute breath work on the course.
Mm-hmm.
But as you spread more awareness, as you keep talking about it, depending on who you're with, it might be the most badass thing to do.
Exactly. And I'm doing it before my shots. Yeah. I'm doing it post. So we acknowledge that there was a big element in pre-shot routine and loading the who.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled on the fact that there needed to be a post-shot routine. Nobody talks about post-shot routine. What are you supposed to be doing in post-shot routine? Well,
post-shot routine is a fist bump.
Yes.
It's a tiger.
It can mean something. Yeah. It can mean so many different things. But for me, what I realized is that if I hit a bad shot, I need to get back to my breathing because I may have triggered my nervous system. I'm pissed. I'm feeling disappointment. I'm feeling maybe sometimes embarrassment. And I need to get that under control. Yeah. So by the time I get to the next shot, I'm regulated.
All shots.
Yes. All shot. Every single shot. So like I said, I've installed all these new bumpers, all these lane detections, right? I've got it in my I've got it in my post. As I'm driving or walking to the next shot, I'm aware of my breath. I'm not letting my mind go future and past because it's those future or past thoughts that can also trigger your fight or flight. If you're kicking yourself and talking to yourself like a nasty caddy in your brain, you suck, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That gets you riled up, right? So instead of focusing on that, I'm back on my breath all round long, treating it like a 4 or 5 hour meditation, man. Like if I'm going to be out there for all this time and investing all this time, I'm going to pull everything that I possibly can out of this practice, right? So heading into 16 was like, just chill out, bro. Go back to your breathing. Pipe the drive down 16 onto the green, 2-putt. Okay, man. All right, next one. No. Don't worry about hole 18 or you're going to hit that fairway. Focus on hole 17. You got a par 3 right in front of you. Continue breathing. All right. You know exactly what you do. Stay confident. Load the, grateful self. Load your who. Cool. On the green, 2-putt. Okay. Heading to 18. Oh my gosh. And hey, I acknowledge that fact. I'm all riled up right now. Get back to breathing. Focus on it for 2 minutes.
What's Raul doing? Is he like watching you?
This is just Lori and myself.
Okay.
This is just Lori. It's actually on our anniversary.
Gotcha.
It's our wedding anniversary on June 4th. And we're out.
So you're already feeling really good.
Oh yeah, man.
So your stars are.
Yes. And I'm acknowledging like, oh my gosh, if I birdie or par, if I par, I'm at 74. If I birdie, I'm at 73. And I notice myself going into the future.
And your best round is 74?
76.
Okay.
And that happened 20 years ago. And I have yet to get close to touching it because I lose my temper. My mental game is always an issue. And here I am possibly about to break it. And I'm thinking, what could happen? Am I going to ruin it? Am I just going to triple or am I just going to quad? And immediately reeling back all those thoughts like, no, come back to your breathing. All right. Boom, piped it down the middle.
Yeah.
Boom, lay up 40 yards in front. Boom, wedge on the green. Boom, I hit the next putt and I actually leave it to about 4 feet.
Shit, why did I do that? Yeah.
And then just got back to focusing on what I needed to do. Sunk it 74 and I'm on the phone sending a message to my brother like in tears. Like 20 years later, Johnny. Like I can't begin to tell you the emotions running through. It's just like, oh my gosh, I did it.
Yeah.
I broke this habit or like it's at least presenting itself. And I know the score isn't everything, but I could feel this profound shift within myself, and then from there I go out and I play with Josh Munn and let me go back a little bit. I'm out playing with Steven at Kaiser and I throw up my first 72 ever. And I'm telling Steven.
So you immediately broke it again?
Again, a few months later. Well, no. This was almost a year later.
Okay.
And I'm out playing with Steven and I'm walking down 18 and I'm like, don't come back. And Steven's walking with me. I said, hey bro, can I share something with you? And he said, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, dude, I'm looking at a new record in the face. If I go in and I take care of this hole, man. And he's like, what are you going to shoot?
Are you already in the fairway? Or this is like 18 tee box? Where are you talking to Steven?
I'm on 18 fairway walking at Kaiser. And
second shot can get away from you.
Yeah.
There's water in front of the green.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I pipe a drive. I want to say like light's already low. So I'm debating, do I just throw a 2-iron out there and have a mid-iron in? Or do I throw a driver out? And driver's been feeling good all day. And I'm like, no. no fear. Throw this driver out there, right down the middle. Yes. Like, all right, I've got 9-iron in, maybe slightly into the breeze that day. And I throw a 9-iron and I'm a little wide and I leave myself about 30 feet. But I've been 2-putting like a machine all day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, man, all right. And Steven's like, let's go, bro, let's go. I hit my putt 6 feet short, bro. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to just not look at 74 in the face because I want to go under it. And 6 feet just looks treacherous at this point. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, just focus on what you need to do, and do not hesitate. Keep that pressure light on your hands. Like, I've been really big on what I call pillow hands.
Yeah.
Whether it's driver or putts, just to make sure that my connection to the club, my connection to my weapon is my hands, right? So if I over grip, that's when things go wrong. And then just drop that putt, man. And Steven's like, let's do new low. I want to say that was 72. And then about a few months later, I go out with Josh and I go to balconies and fire like a 71. And I'm like, okay, this is working.
Yeah.
This is working.
Yeah.
You know, so it was these beautiful moments where it's like, you know, all that hard work. At this point, it's been like 3 years of hard work.
Which is about how long I've known you.
Yeah.
So I knew you practically when you're already breaking your own personal record.
Yes. So. And now the new one is, well, let's break 70.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I've been.
I think it'll come.
I think it will.
Yep.
I think it will. I've started getting tastes of going out to play 9 holes and being under par and going, I can do this for another 9.
Yeah.
You know, like, so that's been really refreshing to feel. But, it's been so cool to kind of run you through all these things. And I know for the viewers, this is, you know, there is some repeat, but it's so good to kind of hear these concepts again. Like, you have to hear them multiple times.
It's
in
like
order.
your practice.
Yes.
Mental reps.
Yes. You might be hearing some of these concepts again from previous episodes, but it's good to kind of go through them and hear them again so that they really solidify in your psyche so that you feel like you know them. But yeah, man, it's just, it's so much more than just the score.
Yeah.
It's chilled me out. It's nice to go out there and feel like I can go out and enjoy golf. I don't have to stay away. Because like I said, it was heartbreaking to kind of think like, oh man, am I going to have to stay away from golf for the rest of my life because it's wrecking me? You know, like.
It's not an option.
Not an option.
Have to figure it out.
Exactly. And that's why there was this notion that like, no, I have to take on this task. Like, I have to do this. I have to beat me. I can't let me win.
Once you get there and you have those breakthroughs, it's very easy to get out of it. But once you're in it and you're writing it, oh my God, that's where the magic happens.
Yes.
You know, that's where all the fun is. That's what keeps you coming back. And I have stories just like how you're saying. So I could resonate with that so much of you're on the brink of, I'm about to shoot my best score, or I'm just here having a good time. But then something happens and then I just birdied back to back. And then you're like, whoa, my whole round after that was like amazing.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is just you believe in yourself a lot more.
Yeah.
You're in control.
You're in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you let go. You're not grabbing onto this.
You're in control. And then I think it also has to do with the spiritual side of like, you just believe good things are about to happen.
Yeah.
So you're free, you're loose, like you're more calm. And that belief is so huge.
Yeah.
It's hard to get belief.
Yeah. You know, and I think speaking on belief, what ended up helping to, well, like just to preface a little bit more of how we ended up unloading the Who, was I noticed going out to rounds and setting an intention, kind of like a computer program that's just not going to allow me to go past a certain thing. It's going to keep me here. And my intentions was go and have fun.
Yeah.
Because like I've told many friends, and I'll say it again, what I believe I did with my game in a nutshell, if I could sum it up to one sentence, was that I've been golfing my whole life, but in the last few years, I started playing golf.
Okay.
I've been golfing. Now I play golf. Because if it's not play, then what is it? And that's what I think for me, I wasn't playing. It wasn't fun. I was tearing myself apart out there. That's not play. Just from looking at human behavior, like that's play? I don't think so. What you're doing out there is not play. So going from golfing to playing golf was a big shift. So before I'd get to the course, I'd set this intention, this like bumper, this barrier, kind of like in bowling, right? Like that. I'd lift the bumpers to not let me go into the gutter and go, remember, the overarching theme, the main program is have fun. Because if you come out here and you have fun, vibes are high, then you are going to play your best golf.
It's easier said than done, for sure.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
It's a practice. Kind of like, I like looking at it like guitar or golf. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I like to say, is it hard or are you just inexperienced at it?
Do you feel like you play better around different people?
I've gotten to the point where I feel like my personal power is so in control and my calmness comes from within me. It doesn't come from any exterior or outside sources. And I feel like I can play in front of anyone and I will be just fine.
Gotcha.
Just fine. We played with some new folks yesterday, a couple of days ago with Raul. Yesterday. And it was rough, man. It was rough because I'm unpracticed. It doesn't mean I don't know how to play golf. It just means that the fine tuning isn't there. Yeah. Like I told you, if I've played 3 times in the last year, it's too much. Same for practice. I've picked up the club very little. And I'm out there doing things that are a little foreign, topping the ball and blading and doing all the things that you should expect to do when you're unpracticed.
You haven't played that long.
But in your brain, it's very easy to go down, why am I doing this? Why is this happening? That's not who I am. And then the disappointment and then sometimes in the embarrassment. And I'm playing around folks, but that I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be good, but you're seeing this.
You have this high expectation.
Yes, expectations can ruin you. And expectations, as we like to say, that's just anxiety because there's this notion that you've got in your head. That's where the expectation comes from some future thought that says, I should this, I should that. And it's like a bad caddy that's putting this pressure on you when you don't need that, So, you'll see it on the vlog with Raul. And if you guys are watching this, be sure to go watch Raul Golf's on YouTube. Fantastic vlog. That's my boy. And you'll see me having some horrendous shots, man. Like oh my God, I can't. Like I said, I'll hear my brain say, I can't believe this and go, what do you expect? You're unpracticed. And then getting my breathing back together for the next shot. And then amazingness happens. And it's like, I'd rather leave with a mental game victory and know that, hey, that's intact than, and know that, hey, all of the swing stuff, the physical stuff, the rust and whatnot, that's going to come off.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that, but yeah, going back to your question, and I think it's completely possible for all of us to hey, the camera's on, who cares? Yeah. Tiger's watching, who cares? It's just, you can come back to you, come back to you.
Especially with the breathing techniques, I think that's
and there's a bunch, you would think, I can just adopt these things. And maybe you're going to go on to do it, adopt these techniques and you're going to notice that you forget. You're going to notice that they fall by the wayside. You're going to notice that when you get upset, you don't want to do them. Mm-hmm. That's a whole thing, but they're all new habits. I like to, when I'm chatting with Raul, I always like to go back to working out where it's like, oh, well, your weightlifting habit is good, but it doesn't mean that your mobility and stretching and maybe cardio is good. You would think, oh, well, it's all working out. You should be good. No, they're individual practices, right? Again, that concept of how you do one thing is how you do everything, not necessarily, right? For some things, yes, but not all things. So you might have a good practice at, the loading the who takes off really well, but then the post shot routine for breathing, that's going to not be so good, so you kind of have to understand they're all new behaviors, they're all new habits, and they all need their time to flourish.
I feel like I'm taking a lot out of this conversation for sure.
I hope so, man. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Because the top 3 things are, 1, the default. Mm-hmm. My default needs to just be the guy who's my most authentic self and is worried about the vibes, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting the best results with that. Why change it? And then the breathing techniques and the post shot technique. I think I already do some of it, but I don't emphasize it enough, and it's not a habit just yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I
and there in the moment, I'll have a good thought and I'll keep it going, but it needs to be a habit.
Yeah.
It needs to be mandatory.
And I think there's this idea, right, that like, oh, mental game, means that you're this or that. But it's just, we're all at different levels physically, but it's nice to be able to have like the mental game, taken care of. Like we might be a 90 shooter with great mental game. We might be an 80 shooter with great mental game. You might even be over 100, but your mental game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it means different things to different folks, but I'm so glad that you're taking a lot away from it.
I am.
And I can't thank you enough for joining me today. It was kind of like something we put together last minute. So I'm so glad that you came over and we had this conversation. But yeah, man, before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find Caddy Issues and what you guys are up to.
Okay, well, Caddy Issues, you can find us on Instagram, Caddy Issues Golf. We are a growing golf community in Austin, and we're throwing the best events, and we're bringing the people together.
Dude, literally the most fun tournaments in town. I'm so proud of what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
It's always memorable. You guys want to make memories. You come into Austin, Texas. If you're not from Austin, it is well worth your while to fly in, whatever you got to do, enroll, sign up for a Caddy Issues tournament. I'm telling you, these guys are blowing up. When I call these things, I am always right. These guys are doing beautiful, beautiful things in the golf space, especially here in ATX. We feel very blessed to have them here. These are my boys. I will be backing them from that first tournament to the last tournament they ever do. Make sure that you sign up for a Caddy Issues tournament. Come to Austin. You won't regret it. Thank you so much, Golf Psychos, for joining us. We will see you guys on the next one.
Peace. Thanks, man. That was epic.